this live right now?
I didn't know it was live.
Yes, we are live right now across Instagram. No, not Instagram. I hate that. We can't there. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. My huge Twitter following. Huge Twitter following. So it's just Matt. Yeah, welcome.
I don't have a Twitter.
So for those of you that tuned into the intro, I've known John for what has to be almost 2 decades. I feel like
a long time.
Yeah. How long have you been originating?
Since 2000.
Okay. So I came into business 2003. So you've been 22 years in the business.
Yeah.
Quick math.
You're younger than I am,
yeah.
Alec.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are,
but you look younger than me. So that's a better qualification.
Thank you.
So for those of you that don't know John, I'll give a little bit of his bio and then we're going to ask some questions. And for those of you tuning in, we really want to explore in this series or in this season of the Modeling Podcast, what it takes to be a $100 million producer. Some of you know that I'm taking around 26 people on the road to 100 million, which is a fascinating experiment. These people that are doing anywhere from 30 to $70 million that want to break into the $100 million club. We're coaching them weekly to get there. And I figure what better way to complement those training sessions than with actual originators who have done it in their career and continue to do it month in and month out. So John's a 22-year veteran. First question for you, big guy. How did you fall into mortgage? Because there's always a story. No one graduates. No one goes to school to be a mortgage banker.
No. My mom was a savings and loan executive for can I say a name on here?
Yeah. Whatever.
Far West Savings and Loan.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to get a job. So
as good parents do.
And so I said, well, okay, what am I going to do? She said, well, you're going to file away files. Like, what does that entail? So I basically got thrown into a vault with mortgage files and put them away. And that was
like, these are closed loans, closed loan files.
Those were closed. I think they were, I don't even know. Awesome. I have no idea. No clue.
Perfect. You're like,
no clue.
I put it here.
I worked with another guy that happened to dress like Mickey Mouse every day. It was interesting.
So where did it go from there? Obviously you're not shipping files anymore.
No, I went. Yeah. So I finished college and my mom said, why don't you get in the mortgage business? And I said, okay, well, I don't have any experience. She said, well, there's a company out there that does 125s. You know what a 125 is?
Yeah. Well, so for the young children don't know.
They don't know. Yeah. 125 is a
old loan.
It's an old loan
from a bygone era.
Yeah. And so I got thrown to the wolves on a call center floor, and I hated it.
The boiler room, straight up boiler room.
Yeah, the guys were just terrible people. Yeah. I say guys because it was mostly guys on this floor, but they were just not people I'd want to work with. So I got really turned off and got out of it, and then somehow I got thrown back into the biz.
So when would you say you started your full-time career in originating in mortgage?
It was still 2000.
2000.
Yeah, I mean, I was in it before then, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Fair enough. Yeah. So fast forward 20 something years. Why have you stayed?
I just like people. Some people.
That's a good answer.
No, I think it's fun to like provide solutions, and we all have issues out there, and one of those issues is how to save up for a home or qualify for a house, and I thought it was cool. I think now looking back, it was really cool helping people in families get into homes, versus renting. So,
do you remember the first year you funded over $100 million?
Maybe.
About?
Kinda, yeah.
When was it?
It was actually 6 years ago. Yeah, 6 years ago.
So we're going to dive into what it takes to be a $100 million producer from your perspective, because you've obviously accomplished it, and so kind of the ins and out of that whole thing. But what do you recall? Do you recall any major setbacks that you experienced in your origination career that you had to deal with? Any breakthrough moments?
Just getting like a lot of people would just, I was going out to realtors and they're just looking at me like I was a moron.
But that's real talk. Like,
that's like, yeah, that was hard.
How'd you deal with that?
I didn't. I went home and cried every night. I mean, I really like to be liked, Alec. You know that.
This is good real talk though, because there's people out there. I mean, so John, I want people to hear this comment. And I've known you for a long time, so I can say it. You're a competent human being. You care about other people, and you got a little bit of the angel gene, meaning you're good looking. You take care of yourself. You got like the package. And some people don't have that, and they're dealing with what they got to deal with to walk into stuff. And even so, even the guy that's smart, talented, good looking is getting kicked in the teeth by agents, feeling the same insecurity and having to deal with it the same way any human does.
I think you got to be authentic and engaging. I think that's the biggest thing. Really, I mean, you know, my wife and I were looking at a open house like 2 weeks ago, and I could tell this guy was a mortgage guy that came in to talk to the agent. The first thing out of his mouth was, "Hey, we got 30-year fixed at this."
Just throwing a rate at the guy.
I almost fell on the ground hearing it. And I was kind of excited at the same time because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what our competition is out there. You know, and that's kind of like my sick way of thinking about it. I almost wanted to help the guy and say, hey, listen, I probably don't want to approach it that way.
Come here. Yeah. You might want to,
you know, but that was, I was that guy too at one point.
Yeah.
You know,
so how did you push through this, you know, that whole awkward, insecure, difficult relationship building period? How did you deal with it?
Just did it. Yeah. You just have to keep doing it.
There's not really much of a secret, is there?
There's no secret. In fact, we're in a time right now where I'm going, hey, I got to get back to the simple things.
Yeah.
Which is what we all did back in the day. You know, because I feel like we've convoluted everything like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this. And really, it's just the simple things, being engaging. And really, I think where the turning point for me is from an old boss of mine who I really respect, Steve Glass. And he said, hey, Farrell, know guidelines. Know your guidelines. No one knows them out there. That's going to set you apart. And that honestly, that was like my one secret that really helped out.
That's good though, because you can control that. You can control what you learn. You can control understanding the guidelines, getting educated, exploring them intimately. You can control that.
Yeah.
You can't always control the market or where the rates are, but you can control that.
Yeah.
I like that.
There's not much we can control in this industry, I don't think.
Did you feel like you ever had a breakthrough sales moment or a relationship that broke open one time in your origination career?
With a specific person?
Sure.
Yeah, Jerry Lamott.
What happened?
Well, Jerry's been in the business a long time, and I know he was. I know you have another person that I won't say.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But they're really hard to penetrate and earn their trust, and somehow, well, I know how, but he gave me a shot, and we won his relationship, and that was kind of the moment where I'm like, okay, hey, I can go out, and if I got Jerry, there's a lot of Jerrys out there. I can go get more Jerrys.
So let's talk through this experience with Jerry, because many top originators that I've engaged with, including my own past history, had realtors that kind of broke us through in certain opportunity, gave us a shot, so to speak.
Right.
And then all of a sudden opened up brand new doors. So how long were you going after Jerry? Do you know? Can you remember?
A Jerry long time. a very long time.
Like a year, a couple years, 6 months, 8 months.
No, it's probably over a year.
And what did that look like? I mean, you know, cold calls, walking into open houses.
Like, I mean, I probably would call him up, and I was like,
dude,
like I was nervous, you know.
Of course,
you know, I had been shut down so many times, and this was Jerry Lamott. But it took a while, but you know, I like to say I was persistent, and I think I was. I don't think I was as persistent. I mean, I wasn't stalkerish, but I definitely took every opportunity I could to meet up with him. And I did a lot of homework on what he liked. I know.
No, this is good. Does. I like this. What kind of homework? What, like
stalking?
Yeah, no, but asking people, like research. I mean,
yeah, researching, pulling, Googling. You know, I don't even know if I Googled his name. I don't know if Google was around.
I was gonna say, yeah,
I don't think it was around.
We didn't have social like we have now.
Yeah, I knew that his family and him and his wife loved Montana. Yeah. They loved being on water in Montana. They have a house in Montana. So I think that was kind of the moment where I'm like, okay, well, I talk about Montana. I've never been to Montana, but if I talk about it, maybe he'll listen to me and be intrigued to actually have a conversation with.
So good, dude.
John.
So is that what happened?
I think that's how it happened. Well, it happened because we saved a deal that was really tough, and that's how we really got the relationship.
But you got a chance.
But at least that gave us the opportunity to have a conversation. So What other question do you have?
If you were to sit down with somebody who is wanting to do what you've done in your career over time, that they're like, newer or established, 5 years in the industry, and they're trying to like have their $100 million a year, they're trying to kick through. What are the non-negotiables that you would define for them as either activities or mindset things or things that they need, like that they need to have or do to be able to do what you do?
I'm still working on that.
Yeah. No, look, I know you're on your journey still, and you're not like, no. I've made it. I've done it.
No, I'm just still a dishwasher.
Fair enough, which I love that perspective, because that's what top producers have to do. You have to continue to evolve and learn.
No, I think having a system in place, which is the thing that I'm actually, I've looked back on, and I'm somehow I did, like, to me, I'm just like the normal guy,
the normal $100 million producer guy.
I'm like, there's nothing fancy. I'm not, I'm not, it's not whatever. But looking back, I think if we can look back and say, hey, what could I done better, and what can I do better now? It's having systems in place.
Sure.
Like on Mondays, you do this.
Yep.
These are your tasks. These are your duties. These are your calls. Tuesdays, and so forth and so forth. And that I'm working on now, because somehow, let's be honest, somehow I worked in a mad kind of way, and it just happened.
Yeah, but I also think that there's method to the madness, and what I mean by that is you can't not work and get those results. So there's clearly something in that context. And so, like, for example, what would a week or so look like for you in terms of work? Like, what time are you starting work? What time are you ending work? What does it look like from
so I get up like 3:30 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
Stop it.
Yeah, but I also go to bed at 8:30, 9. I'm like an old cow. But I get up early. I go to work out. Working out is extremely important for me. I mean, that gets my head straight. Like, we all have those rough days.
Yep.
Get up, go to work out, go home, say hello to my family, and my, kiss my wife goodbye, go to the office. And then what I've been doing is I've been having a list that I created the night before.
Nice.
But before I do that, I actually do my coach, Angie Wisdom, created an awesome journal book on gratitude and, what are 3 great things to win the day.
Yep.
And then you reflect on it. And then I also do the 5-minute journal. So that get that going, to get my mindset going, to get myself in a positive mindset. And then I get to, usually I call my team up, and we, if there's possible issues, we talk about them.
Yep.
But then it's just, calling. It used to be driving and driving and driving. But
it did. And now it's calling. Maybe it'll be driving and driving again very soon. So when do you kind of quote clock out? And that's hard for originators, because we stare on our phones all day.
I don't think there's a time I clock out, which is the unfortunate part.
So this is good for somebody who's looking out there being like, I want to do what John does. Okay, well, you got to be willing to put in the work and the sacrifice that John does. Because I know for a fact that, most people like you, they don't turn their phone off. They kind of have it. They're there for customers at nights and weekends. They're for realtors nights and weekends.
Date nights.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, you interrupted with the customer. You got to balance that. It's hard.
That's hard.
It's hard to do. But it's also a sacrifice you made over the years that have made you into the producer you are, and given you the reputation you have in the industry.
I think when you're younger and you're, I say younger in the business, I think you do have to do a lot more sacrifice initially.
Before you get balance.
Yeah, I think that's part of the game. Now I think the hard part is balancing out family, which is my number one priority. And that's still, I got to work on that. And that's a tough thing. Well, but for the people that the people that are out there that, their goal is to hit 100 million plus, you're going to have to sacrifice weekends and nights and a lot of your personal time to get in the door, but it can be done.
It can be done. Well, it's you're living proof. It can be done. So let's talk about for a minute, scaling support staff, and that for a conversation, because I want to do a couple things in this piece. Normally, no one gets $100 million on their own. You got to have support. You got to have somebody helping you out.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, I hear originators make excuses like, well, if I only had 3 assistants, I'd be $100 million producer. And I'm like, no, you wouldn't, because you don't do the actions that would reciprocate that. So it's the people get you there, but it's not them alone isn't the answer. But under that premise, how has sales support changed your business? And let's unpack that for somebody else who's trying to understand how to do this right. And by the way, I get it's still an evolution and you're learning every day. But you still have a lot a lot of past to share on.
Yeah. So, Lily. Lily's been my, I have 2 amazing assistants, Lily and Brooke. We've been a team for, I want to say 5 years now. And actually maybe, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
That's when I hit my 100.
I love it.
She thinks like I do. She's driven by success as far as winning relationships. She's driven by taking care of her family. She's got 2 amazing daughters. And she really, really knows her stuff. I mean, and you know what? And she sacrifices a lot of her time to win and get our business where where our goals are. So, team's really important. Now, Lily's not going out and calling on real estate agents.
What is she doing?
She's winning our current clients and new clients by handling the loan from start to finish. She's created an amazing process, and she's so easy to talk to, but she's not, she's winning clients from our, referrals from our current clients, but she's not, I don't have her knocking on doors or calling agents and doing all the grind stuff.
So, but this is a good delineation of duties that I want to just unpack and have a conversation around, because I want people that are trying to scale their own teams to understand how to do it in a right way. Have you done it in the wrong way before? Did you have a time?
Oh, yeah.
And what did you learn, or what happened in that?
I don't know if I can say that one on.
There's people that know me, so before we don't have to dive into the ugly truth, but I want people to understand.
Who you're hiring.
Yeah,
know who you're hiring, and
I've made hiring mistakes. I mean, everyone has.
Yeah, even do like everyone talks about disc profile.
Sure.
But really know who you're hiring. They have to align with not only your personality, but your goals and they have to be driven. They have to treat your business as if it's their business.
Ownership.
Yeah.
It's
hard to find.
It really is.
Really hard.
Because it's your business.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that's where it gets really hard to find.
But now it's our business.
I like that. That's the difference, though. That's the shift.
Yeah.
You find somebody who makes it our business, and all of a sudden you can get to 100 million.
Yeah.
So in terms of client handoff and kind of her, at what point in the transaction does she kind of take over?
She normally will take over once the client has completed the online application.
Yep.
And from that point, then she's going to do an introductory call. And thanks to you, we created videos now, because I've
seen some of those. They look good.
Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress. But so the cool thing is, and I also preface this, if you're building a team, make sure you communicate who your team is and when those clients should expect to hear from them. Because if you don't, and
random person
Lily calls, they have no idea who it is. It's not good. So communication is key, especially when you're building a team. I know I went off on that, but I just
no. They need to hear it. Everyone needs to hear it, because again, it is a secret weapon to catapult your business. I really believe this. A great team is a way to catapult your business, but people want to make it a crutch that I need that to catapult my business, and it's not that simple.
No,
just adding a body doesn't just take you to 100 million.
No.
No, it actually can take you the other direction real fast.
Takes your balance sheet down.
So if you were talking to a $50 million producer, which in my opinion is an amazing producer, that's a lot of business. They're doing a ton of loans. And they're trying to become a $100 million producer. What key advice do you share with them? I mean, yes, you did get into their business and understand what they're doing, their activities, but apart from all that,
the biggest advice I can give is stay in touch with your clients, past clients. It's really, really important. And I'm not good at it either. It's really hard to do. I have actually, that is my goal this year. And I'm doing it. I'm actually gonna, it's really tough. It is tough
so
because
hard, dude.
I'm going to call clients that have probably bought 3 houses since I did their first purchase or refinanced 10 times. And I'm going to be like, hey, it's John Farrell. And they're going to be like, who?
I thought you forgot about me.
Yeah. Or you forgot about me. That's the key. Like, your client database are your cheerleaders. If you did a good job and you wowed them on whether it was a refi or a purchase, touch base with them at least once a year, at least. And that's something for all of us. I'm not good at it either. Like, that's my goal this year. Like I said, I'm going back to simple stuff. If you want to go from 50 to 100 million, talk to your clients, past clients, your leads, anyone.
Weird, not rocket science.
No.
Well, here's what I want to take the remainder of our conversation. You've talked now a couple times about going back to simpler stuff, going back to the foundational stuff.
Right.
I want you to unpack what all that means for somebody out there, because I know for a fact that the foundational stuff is what got us to where we're at.
Yeah.
And so when you say go back, and we've had a pandemic, we've had insanity, we've had lots of stuff going on. What are those foundational stuff? What are the simpler stuff? What does that mean to you?
Picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Being empathetic to your clients, your realtors. I mean, I know, hey, you guys, the realtors are having a tough time right now. I don't even want to bludgeon the whole thing of no inventory, because no inventory, inflation, we all hear it. It's just nonstop. But reach out to these people. Try to help their business, figure out ways to help their business. Check in on them, see how they're doing. Like that's my one key thing that our whole industry needs to get back into.
100%.
100%.
I did so on this Road to 100 call that I'm doing, right? There's some really strong producers on there, 60, $70 million producers. And of the 27 people I asked, hey, how many of you are going back out into the communities and trying to find your agents at open houses, broker previews? And I know inventory and the house move fast, whatever. I saw Mark Bowie the other day at an open house in Garden Grove.
I love Mark Bowie.
He's the best in the world. He showed an open house in Garden Grove, and there are 40 people at it in a line. And he's there hanging out, kissing babies. And I was like, that's the smartest guy in the world right there.
He's just walking through the line?
He's just there with the agent and the line.
You gotta love Bowie.
But this is my point. Is like, you talk about the simpler times.
Yeah.
What everything John just said boils down to caring about other people, intentionally reaching out and making connection to those people. I mean, John just ask them how they're doing. Like, that wasn't anything about here's my 30-year fixed rate flyer and here's my payment.
Everyone's like, dude, cash out now. You don't want to call a client and say, hey, cash out. You need cash out. It's just not a good way. Like,
maybe ask them how they're doing.
Yeah. Ask how they're doing. How are their kids doing? Sorry to hear about the divorce.
In an age where everything's becoming so digital and sterilized, it was great that you're my first guest on this $100 million producer season, because the core reality of relationships matter has been one of the themes that we've just been hitting on over and over again here today. And it's the bulk of what's going to carry you to 100 million is going to be core relationships that you have and the people that care about you.
And for me, it's going to carry me to the other goal that I set. Again, it's something we all have to do. So I appreciate you having me on.
Well, one more thing, John. So I want to end all of the $100 million series with this question. What do you owe your success to? Big question.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's lots of things. It doesn't have to be a single answer. It doesn't have to be, this moment in time. It could be multiple things. So you got getting emotional. I didn't mean to take it like super emotional town either. That wasn't my intent. It's not a trap.
Wow. You son of a gun. I owe to my family. My family is everything. I mean, I owe them a lot, and I owe everything to them. And my family. they've been there for me all the time. So
Love you, dude. Appreciate you. You're the man.
thanks, dude.
Hey, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of the Model Lending Podcast. We're going to be back with more $100 million producers talking about how to get there. And I'm going to leave it with this on John's comment. As much as we sacrifice to drive our results and our success, never forget the people that are around you holding your back and sacrificing with you. So take that and thank someone today. Give a loved one a hug today. Take care. We'll see you on the next episode.